Hello, this is David Shen, your host at Winning Lifestyle Podcasts. Today, I have Gaia Mariani as my first guest on my podcast. She's a yoga therapist. Gaia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you, David, for having me. I am a yoga therapist and sound healer, and I'm excited to be part of this podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited too. This is my first one. It took like a minute to set up, but now everything sounds pretty good, and I'm excited to get started. So what got you into yoga therapy?
I personally enrolled into yoga therapy study because I was coming out of a toxic relationship with a person that was addicted to alcohol and drugs, and I wanted to find a way and more resources to help this kind of like population suffering with this problem and pain. But then I soon realized as I got into school that reality was I could not help people that whose pain was not related to mine, and having no history in myself or in my family of addiction, I could not entirely relate it to the problem. But what I found was even more profound, and I found a way for healing myself and my own stress level, nervous system regulation, in order to make better choices for my life and have better boundaries in my life. Because I realized that the problem was not trying to help the other person. The problem was understanding why I got myself in such an emotionally abusive relationship in the first place.
I like that. A lot of personal relation to how you got into yoga therapy. And then how about what other aspects of wellness do you think yoga can improve upon?
Yoga is a very used word for a lot of things today, and I think we lost kind of track of what it actually means. So yoga itself, the word means union, and it's creating this state of union between your mind, your body, and your spirit, so that you can move past duality and come back in that unchangeable place within you. And so yoga can help from the mental state to the physical aspect to overall improve your life and your focus, your direction of your life, and your connection to your true purpose.
I like that. In fact, I think you answered my next question, which was going to be what is the purpose of yoga therapy? Moving on to the next, I know that you have an upcoming retreat coming up.
Mhm.
So what, and I don't want to spoil any secrets. So, what can you tell us then about your upcoming retreat?
So my retreating is in Italy, and I'm originally from Italy, even though I've been living in the state for 10 years. So holds a special place in my heart in terms of location, but also in terms of the work that we'll be doing. We'll really go deeper into the practice, but through workshop into learning how to regulate and understand our nervous system, which I think it's a topic that is super important in today's society, but
Mm,
also how to overcome limiting beliefs. So some work on the subconscious mind to
mm.
really create a path of the rebirth. This is why the location I chose is a 1,000 years old monastery that got remodeled into a luxury heaven. And the idea is that this place where we'll be staying for 6 nights will support our own path of rebirth, keeping from the past what serve us, what empower us, but removing and let go of what the stories that don't support us, our new version of ourselves we were trying to create, the direction where we're trying to go. And so we are opening up space for new possibility and reconnecting to the center of like purpose and love within, which I believe is the true fuel for life and for a fulfilling life.
I love that. And in physical therapy, because I'm a physical therapist, we also talk about the subconscious effects that it has on our bodies. Because as opposed to other body parts, backs and necks, they have a subconscious component to it.
Interesting.
So after some kind of stressor, whether it be like a motor vehicle accident or just work stress, a lot of that can manifest in the back and the spine, and our breathing too, all of which is somewhat subconscious. Like, when we're just sitting here, we're breathing, but we're not paying attention to it.
Right.
We're holding our postures up. It's subconscious too. And when you really start to focus on it, I know in physical therapy at least, um, there's a huge influence that you can have on it.
100%. I believe that when you look at a person posture, you can already tell how the person is breathing, right?
Right.
So if they're more crunched, definitely the breath doesn't go enough in the full lung capacity. If
Hmm.
they're more in the belly, they can tell they're more belly breathing. So I totally agree with you that the posture tells a lot about not just like how we look from an external perspective, but how we feel inside and how we breathe and how do we express our emotions.
I like that. And then this retreat, what part of Italy is it in?
Is in the northeast. It's a region called Emilia Romagna, close to Bologna. Some of you may have heard about Bologna. If not, you can Google it up. And it's about 2 hours away from Bologna. So we start in Bologna and sightsee in Bologna, but then we move into this monastery, which is pretty remote. And we'll have another sightseeing in a medieval borgo that is called San Leo. So it's a little bit more off the beaten path experience, intentionally to give you a taste of a different Italy from whatever you may think of. Like it's such a depth in the culture of the country and in the tradition of the country that I would love you to experience from a perspective of somebody that was grown up there.
Okay, great. And it's for 7 days, you said, right?
7 days, 7 nights, 8 days.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I'll be sure to share the link in the bio. Um, so then when is this retreat?
It's in September 15 to 22nd.
Okay, cool. I might try to do that too, but I have to check out my PTOs, see if I'm able to.
Yeah.
So then, speaking of occupations, I know that you used to be a construction manager, correct?
Correct.
And so what are some of the changes in your life, both pros and cons, after switching to yoga therapy?
This is a very good question, and I would say that the previous job it was more linear. I
Hmm.
started as a structural engineer, moved as a construction engineer, and then I knew the path forward of evolution of my career was set. So my goal was to become project manager and move from there. Once I got there, like I realized when I got into my project manager position, which was my linear career I envisioned, I realized I kind of lost my purpose. And now, as I change and transition completely career, the path is far away from linear. So
Hmm.
it's less secure, but at the same time, it's more following a vision and a dream that
Hmm.
keeps shaping as I keep growing. I forced me to learn a lot of new skills, and I always love to learn and grow and to create my own path, to let go of the linear perspective of how I think sometimes things should go and just be more open of having a vision and stay focused on the vision and not so much on the how. And it's been
Mm.
forcing in really changing my mindset, and keep improving my mindset, to reach this vision, this dream that it's ultimately my own business, but also is something that I want to gift through my work to other to help them too. um, I think career, all of them are beautiful and
Mhm.
perfect as long as they are in line with your true purpose and your passion. If there
Mm.
is that passion, that meaning, the reason why you're doing that job is strong, then you're going to be fulfilled. And for
Mm.
me, I lost my why when I was in my construction engineering job. And so I had to find a new one, and it unfolded into a yoga therapy and sound healing path and leading retreats.
I like that. I'm just gonna turn up your mic a little bit,
Yep.
I think. Because I think I might be coming out a little louder, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, I hear you just fine,
Okay, great.
but now I hear myself a little louder.
Nice. So then was there anything at your job specifically that um made you kickstart this yoga thing? Was there like a specific moment or just built up over time?
Definitely, there was a moment I burned out. I experienced a severe burnout, and at that time, I was already part time in yoga therapy school, and I decided to just take a break. Because I wanted to understand what happened to me. I found myself like not being myself anymore. I lost my old identity. I couldn't. I always been like a very social buzzing bee,
Mhm.
and in the burnout period I couldn't even get out of the house. So I understood that it was time to stop trying to change my external reality and look within. In yoga
Mhm.
therapy school, I went in full time at that point to really understand what happened to me and how I could prevent a burnout to ever happen again in my life, and how
Mhm.
can I help others to not experience a burnout ever in their life. And that's why my work revolves around nervous system regulation the most, but also limiting belief, because throughout our life changes are inevitable,
Mhm.
and we are continually forced to lose our old identity and create a new one. And that can be a little unsettling if we don't have like that awareness, to
Right.
understand that we can reproduce the past. We
Mhm.
cannot sometimes reach the future without clarity, and we need to continue like work on ourselves for that.
I like that. Um, as a physical therapist, sometimes, well, I treat in the workers' comp setting. So then a lot of patients, because they were injured at work, they have these chips on their shoulders,
Mm.
and it's unexpected. When you get injured at work, you never expect to do that. So then there's a lot going on in their head, subconscious as well. And sometimes if they're not ready to go back to work, they're not going to be ready,
Mm-hmm.
if they don't,
100%.
they're not mentally ready. And sometimes it's about being able to kind of adjust to things that happen to you, and being stuck in our 9 to 5 jobs. A lot of times we're just so used to a specific system that when something unexpected happens, you're not able to brace for it.
Yeah.
So I think that everybody could benefit from yoga. For me, I like to weightlift, and once in a while, I realize like, oh, I pulled my hamstring, or recently I pulled my calf, and if I had been doing yoga, maybe I wouldn't have.
Right.
It's good physically and mentally.
And as you said, we're very attached to our physical identity, right? That's an identity. So when there is like an injury, or when we always think like every day we should, if yesterday I lifted this much, today I should do it again. And we don't realize that, our physical identity change from day to day, as well
Yeah,
as our emotion and mental. And maybe not every day we need to do the same things and have the same result.
right.
And just like, instead of fighting against this, just acknowledge it and just, go with the flow in a sense.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point too, where you were saying how like some days you could do an exercise, and then the next day for whatever reason you can't, and then it's best not to push it. And I guess that relates back to like backs and necks,
Right.
because those are subconscious and something out of your control. So as opposed to other body parts like my calf, you can stretch it; it'll always get more flexible. But if you have a back pain, sometimes if your back's not ready for it and you try to stretch it anyways, it might get more tight the next day,
100%. Yeah.
because subconsciously you're not ready for it. And there's a lot that you can do to kind of help you mentally prepare for things.
Right. I think there is
Um,
always like the mental component is super important, and sometimes we just don't pay enough attention to it, and we just let it run these stories in the background without being aware of them. But that's what can cause like discomfort and disease in our lives.
nice. And I kind of want to go back to this retreat.
Mhm.
So then with the retreat, it's not going to be yoga like the whole time, right? There's going to be sound baths and other things.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of different mindfulness activity, and even a yoga practice are practice that I don't offer when I teach in studio. They're more subtle, less movement and more mindfulness to it. And they go back more to the root where yoga connects to Ayurveda. So we do some cleansing practice to really clean the body physically, mentally, emotionally from inside out. And these are practices that again are not typically taught in the Western studios, at least. And they're going to
Mm-hmm.
be mindful and activities that is silent walking meditation. We had a hard work. We're going to have a hard workshop where we are going to connect to our creativity using local sources.
Mm-hmm.
We also gonna have some fun like Italian cooking classes,
Oh, okay.
and two sightseeing day. But most of all, the core of the retreat are these workshop, which are
Mm-hmm.
gonna be from some informative talk, like insightful talk that will help you have more awareness and knowledge, because knowledge is power, but also will lead to exercise like reflection prompts through journaling or writing or visualizing, whatever it's the best way for you. And from there leading into giving you tools simple that you can apply in your life,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is not like sometimes the retreat is like a kickstart, like when the car battery dies.
Oh, and actually, speaking of batteries dying,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
the
my
computer.
computer might die and I got to go back to work. Well, we'll definitely have Gaia back on sometime soon. So I guess we'll call it for now. Thank you all for listening, and thank you,
Thank
Gaia, for coming
you.
on here. All right, then. Take care, everybody. Oh, shoot. Okay, hopefully it saves